Alright guys, so this is a continuation of my video I did last time on how to unwrap, retop, and project. This video is just going to go over how to go on Quixel and texture model, and what I have up here right now is just the final result, and I'm going to show you guys how to get it. So first off, we're going to need to open up Photoshop, and we want to grab our normal map from our XNormal project, and also our base texture map. So yeah, drag those into Photoshop, and we're going to start coloring them, because each color that we put on it represents a different material in Quixel. So first I had to rasterize the layer so we're able to edit it. And we also need to open up 3ds Max just so we can look at our UVs so we can match them up with the model, just to make sure that we're making the right color map for it. So what I did there is, I guess my edge bleeding, they're touching, so we just need to color it in manually since there's no separation, but it's not a big deal. And 3ds Max should be loaded up in just a second. But if there's some that you already know will go together, like those 3-star shaped things, I mean, just make them the same material. But it's always good to double check in Max. Alright, we're importing our low poly. Don't import the material. Alright, here's our low poly. So what we need to do is convert it to a edit poly. And then we're going to open up the UV editor by putting the unwrap UV modifier on it in 3ds Max. Here it is. I guess right now, I know that this is a leaf texture, but we're just going to make sure. And have all your viewports open so you can see the front and top, so you know you're getting the right mesh and the right UVs. Alright, now this one's the tongue right here. Just making sure. Alright, now let's go color it in Photoshop. That's the bottom of the tooth. That's not the tooth. There we go. So we're going to color those two. And also when you do this, try to match up similar colors to what it would be. Like the leaf should be green, the teeth should be yellow. It just kind of helps me. It's kind of a trick that you could use, but of course it really doesn't matter. So we're going to match the tongue with the inside of the mouth. And this is just a test file that I did just so I could show you how I did the other file. Because when I was actually doing the first one, OBS crashed on me, so all my recording was gone, but my work was saved. So now I'm going to show you another way we can put a color ID map on, is if we're not just doing the UVs. You can actually go in there with the pen tool or the selection tool, and you can cut out certain areas. Right now I'm just showing you there's a little piece on the bottom of his body, and we're just going to cut that out so it's a different material than I guess it would be wood that'll make it. And remember, when you are going to be doing Quixel, it's a Photoshop plugin, so you definitely need to have Photoshop before you even start working with Quixel, but I'm sure you guys already have Photoshop. So we made a selection with the pen tool, and now we're just going to color it in with a different color. And that's a little too similar, so let's change it. Alright, so that's looking good. I think we're just going to end there. I went a little ahead on my actual color ID map that we're going to be using. This was just a test to show you what I did. Alright, now let's open up Dedo, and we want to select our mesh. And I like to keep all my stuff in the same folder just so it's easy to find. So there's the color ID map, and now we're going to import our normal map. And create the base. And also the calibration profile, you want to keep that at Unity 5 because that's what we're going to be using for our project. And since we already we're done with the UVs in Max, just close it so it doesn't take up any processing power while we're working in Quixel. So now let's open up 3Do, because this is going to be our 3D viewer pretty much. We're just going to be able to see what materials we're putting on our model through here. And this is like game engine viewing, so this is how your model is actually going to look when we put it into Unity. So yeah, click the little ball with the platform under it, and then select your material. The first one we're going to do is an organic. It's going to be monster skin. Just create it, and there we go. We have a base texture on there. Now we're going to click the little file so we can kind of edit the materials, just the colors a little bit. And really, you can just play with all these different layers and get the result that you really like. I'm just playing around in here. I want to give you guys kind of a different result than I got before, but I don't want it to be too different because it would be cool to have two different variations in our game. Alright, that looks pretty cool. Now, it's on everything because we haven't assigned it. So just click that little gray box and then define it by the color that you have on your color ID map. I actually have 3 monitors, and one that's not in the field of view right here has my color ID map on the side just so I can look back and forth. And you'll see me drag it across, so you'll see what I'm talking about. Now we're going to add another material. We're going to do the teeth. And if you can't find it, just type it in on the search bar. And we're going to assign it to the yellow, because that's what I put for the color ID map. And it's cool doing this because you just see your model come to life when you just start plugging everything in. Next material, we're going to do inflamed monster skin. We're going to put that in the mouth. And we need to assign it. So let's see. We have it as pink. So let's put that on there. Cool. Now it doesn't really match very well. Like the colors just don't match very well. So we're gonna edit this by clicking that folder, and let's change the colors just a little bit. And make sure that your window isn't covering up your editor view, because that's where you're going to see the real-time change. It won't be applied to your model until after you click OK. There we go. That matches a lot better. Just a darker shade with a little variation than the actual skin that we have on there. And let's save this material that we made. So we clicked on one of the buttons on the top that just says Save Material, and then we're going to name it and save it, and it will be in your custom materials now for when we want to use it again. So right now it's just building the material. It'll be done in just a second. Alright, our material is saved, and it's just going to pull up in our 3D menu, or 3D. Just view it there. And to get our model back, just close it and reopen 3D. Alright, our model's back. Let's create another material. And there's the custom material, and there's ours at the bottom, pink monster mouth. Create. Alright, and we have it as red. So this is gonna go on the tongue. Now it looks kind of dark in there. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna add a material on top of this, so it'll give it a little bit of variation. Because you can put materials on top of materials inside its own material folder. So open it up, and then we're just going to add a basic material. So that's just the ball button. We have our lists in here. So we're going to do wet mud. That might be good for the inside of the mouth. Okay, now you see how we can see some cracks and stuff on there? What we're going to do is we're going to change the scale. Just bring it down to -4 so we don't see those cracks and it's just kind of smooth. Then let's change the color to like a light purple. Now this is covering the whole thing, so we need to change the mask. So click on the white box up there, and then just to get it on top of the tongue, we're going to go down to the mask that says top light. Click that one right there. And then it'll show you the mask on your model. So it shows that it's getting all the bumps. So we click OK, and then it's going to show up on our model. Now it's a little overbearing, and it's way too light. So we're going to change the opacity of this. Bring it down to about 50, maybe a little less. That looks pretty good. And you can do this with anything, like if you're making a box or something and it's out in the desert and you want to put sand on it, you would use the same technique. Change the color, change the mask on it. Yeah, same technique. So we're going to add another material. We're going to use raptor skin. I found this is pretty good for plant life. Of course, we need to change the color and everything, but overall, it gives us a really good base texture. So we're going to assign it. Let me pull up my color ID map again. So it's that light green. We're going to assign it to that. Cool, starting to come together. So that looks a little desaturated with the color. So let's just open it back up and let's bring up the color values a little bit. It's kind of like this green brown. Let's change it to a brighter green. But let's not get too colorful because we don't want it to be overbearing. Bring it down a little bit. Alright, that brought it down a little bit. It doesn't look as saturated as before. Not as high contrast. Let's change another value on it. Alright, that's just going to give it a little bit of highlight. That looks good, nice and kelpy. Okay. Now, I'm not really liking the skin on the character. I feel like that looks too high contrast. So let's change it again. And remember, guys, everything that we do in this is on its own layer. It's not set in stone. So we can always just go back to a different material and open it back up and change the way it looks. And really just play around with it until you get what you like. Alright, that looks good. See how it looks on our model. It's kind of Halloweenish. It looks like a pumpkin. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Alright, we're going to leave that alone now. So let's create another smart material. We're going to go to organic. Let's put some more monster skin on there. Now, this is unassigned and it's on top of my other monster skin, so we're just going to bring it below it. Because I don't think we're going to attach this to anything. It'll just be the base texture that's underneath everything. It'll help because sometimes if there's nothing below anything and everything's assigned to its own material, you guys can kind of see white seams around the material, and that's kind of an undesired look. So we'll leave that there, and we're going to create another material. Let's do that based on him. Let's make it a wood with a green kind of moss around it. I guess that's paint, but it will still work. Alright, let's assign it to the wood. Alright, that looks pretty cool. I don't know if you noticed, but it looks like our teeth texture is gone, so we might have to recreate that. But right now we just did some more inflamed monster skin, and we're just going to assign that to the bottom of him. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I guess I'm looking for the teeth right now. Alright, let's add it back in there. Alright, that's assigned again. Alright, we're going to create another material. We're going to do the eyes. So let's do something kind of shiny, but not like glass. Let's do latex. So create it, and then let's assign it. So it's that kind of peach color. Alright, now I actually think that looks kind of cool with the eye actually being black. I think it might be cool to leave the iris as white. Just kind of do opposite of what we did on our last monster. Alright, just assign it. Now we just need to go back in the folder and let's change the color from black to white. Alright, that looks pretty cool. And really, you should just always just really look around your model and make sure everything looks good and inspect it for any errors or anything. Keep messing with the texture of the guy. Ooh, that looks way too dark. Let's bring it up a little bit. Alright, now we're going to mess with the color of the teeth. They look a little bit bright now, so let's just go in the color fill, change the color of it. And make sure that we can see the tooth in the actual Photoshop document. Because remember, it doesn't update real time in the 3D editor. And really, I am not sure what all these do. So you just kind of have to go in there and play around with it until you get the result that you like. Let's bring it down just a little bit more. All right. Alright, and I think this is the last thing we're going to do. We're just going to change that color of the eyelid. So just add some more monster skin on it, and this one's going to be pretty easy. We're just going to assign it to that color, and then we'll just kind of change the color a little bit. And sometimes your monitor colors might be a little different, so you have to drag the color ID map on the screen so you can match up the color just right. I guess that's the closest one, so let's see if it works. Alright, I think it did. Now let's change the color of it. A little bit of purple, let's match it with the mouth a little bit. Alright, that looks good. Remember, it doesn't have to be super vibrant. You can keep it very subtle, like color-wise. Alright, well I think he's done, so let's open up the exporter and let's set our path. And I actually want to create a new folder in here. So click on the base folder, make new folder, and I'm just going to name this one Final02. Alright, click OK. And then let's change the name to just Plant Monster. And then for the calibration profile, we're working inside of Unity 5 for this project. So just keep it Unity 5, and if that's not your default, you can change it here. And that's just going to change what maps are exported. So we're only going to get 4 maps out of here. And it's going to be our albedo, it's going to be our normal map, our ambient occlusion, and our speck gloss. Alright, now let's just hide all this stuff. And let's save our project. We can always go back to it later. And another thing is you can actually come in here in Photoshop afterwards and mess with the albedo map or a diffuse, whatever you want to call it. And you can add on like more vines or something, whatever texture you want. So let's open Unity up. There's the guy that we already have. Now let's drag in our new folder, Final02, and give it a second to import those maps. Because they're all 2K, so it's probably about 50 megabytes of stuff coming in. Alright, it's in. Let's open up the folder, click on the Plant Monster Low Poly, and let's change it to calculate with the normals and hit apply. Now let's go in here to the shader, do standard specular setup. Let's drag our maps in. Occlusion, diffuse, Let's do the normal. And remember to click Fix Now so you can fix the normals. And let's drag the specular in. And I'm going to change this to a little bit more white. I think it gives better results. Drag it in, and look at that. We have another variation on our creature. Alright guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching.